folks, this is Christine in eLearning, and this is part one of my rundown on how to use Microsoft OneDrive. So, what is Microsoft OneDrive? If you have ever used a service like Google Docs or Dropbox, OneDrive is very similar. It's a cloud-based file sharing portal, if you will. It's a place to save documents and files to the cloud. Benefits of saving to the cloud: it's easily accessible whether you're on or off the network. You don't have to use the remote desktop to access your documents. It's very easy to share and collaborate on documents. It's very easy to share to the LMS, which, if you are like many of us and are occasionally making tweaks to your documents and don't want to go through the entire rigmarole of uploading new files, it can be very useful. And it's a secure location because it's connected to the COCC network. So there are lots of good reasons to save to the cloud. First of all, because we are here in part one, I want to do a quick rundown of what the differences are between sharing to your desktop versus sharing to the network versus sharing to OneDrive, and how you can identify those within a document. So what we're looking at here is a Word document that I have created by clicking on Word from on my desktop computer. So I came into my programs, I selected Microsoft Word, I opened it up, I typed up this little bit of an outline, and I am going to want to save my document. So I can go over to File, and if I select Save As, I'm going to see a couple of different options. So you should generally have something that looks like this in your Save As options. So this PC, that refers to the desktop computer that you are currently working on, and you can save to that desktop, or you can save to locations within that desktop. For example, if I select Browse, I can save to like my Documents folder. I can save it to a folder within my Documents. I can also save it to the network drive. If I have a folder here that I have sharing permissions to, I can share in here. So those are probably the places that you're used to sharing documents. Maybe you also have a thumb drive or some sort of external file drive plugged in. That's also going to be something that you can find within the Windows File Explorer. That's what this whole thing is. What you'll also see is an option here called OneDrive. So this is automatically connected to your COCC network account. As you can see, my email address is in there. And if I select this, I'm going to see some common locations. So these are locations that I've already used. You may or may not have something here. I believe OneDrive comes with a couple of default folders, so you'll probably see something like that. If I double click on OneDrive, it's going to open up the File Explorer again, but you'll see that here under the breadcrumbs, which show me where I am, I'm in my user folder, but I'm looking at my OneDrive, and it's the OneDrive for COCC. You may actually have OneDrive for another Microsoft account that you may have. You want to make sure that you're actually saving to the COCC one. So within my OneDrive, I've got a couple of folders. I can add a new folder, or I can go into an existing folder. I can add subfolders, or I can just save directly. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as OneDrive demo, and I'm going to click Save. And you'll notice it may take just a second to actually do that saving, and if you look down here, it'll show that you are uploading to SharePoint. I am in my document, and when I save this document, it's going to be saving to OneDrive. This document no longer exists on my desktop, such as it were. And I can always check that and verify that I am actually saving to OneDrive by coming up into File. And if I look here at the document information, it'll have the name of the document, and then it's going to have the file location. So again, I'm in OneDrive here. If this were the network drives, you would see a whole big long thing of where it is on the network, or if it's in subfolders in your documents on your desktop, you would see that as well. So we have successfully saved this document to OneDrive. Now, the next part is, how do I get to OneDrive to access that document, or how do I verify that it's there? I always want verification when I'm saving to a new place. So if you are online, I'm going to go ahead and open up a new window here. Now I have SharePoint bookmarked, and I highly recommend that you do as well, but you can also just type it in at cocc.sharepoint.com. And when I click enter here, you're going to see a couple of things. First, it's going to redirect to a Microsoft login page. If you've already logged in, or if you've already used SharePoint at some point or another, it may already have an email address here for you, or if you use SharePoint for another institution like St. Charles or something in the Bendel Pine School District, you may have an email address here as well. Again, you want to make sure that you're saving to your COCC SharePoint, so either verify that this email address is your COCC email address, or click the use another account. And if you see neither of these things, just go ahead and type in your email address. And once you do that, it's going to redirect you to our organization. If you are off campus at some point, it may prompt you to log in with your COCC network credentials. If that's the case, just use the same ones that you use for everything else. Now, what you will land on. This homepage may look a little bit different depending on if you are part of a department SharePoint site, if you use SharePoint for committees. If you've never logged in before, it may look a little bit different. That's totally okay, because what we are going to do is open up OneDrive by clicking on the app launcher. And the app launcher is this waffle of buttons up here in the far left corner. Here are all my apps. I'm going to go ahead and click OneDrive. And as you will see, here are the file locations that I had when I went through the option of sharing my stuff through Microsoft Word. So I saved my document to my documents folder, and here are the documents that I have saved. Now this is the one I just uploaded. I can tell that it's new within the last hour because it has a couple of little blingy things on it. Also, I can see that it's the one I most recently uploaded. I'm the one that uploaded it. That's important if you're using shared documents. And right now it's privately saved, privately shared, which we'll get to in another section of this video. But to open this up, here's my OneDrive demo. Here is the document that I just uploaded, and you can see that it is functionally identical to the one that I started creating in Microsoft Word on my desktop. So in this section, we talked about saving to the cloud. We identified the differences between the desktop network and OneDrive, and looking at save locations. And we also verified how you can find your documents once you're logged into OneDrive. So please join us again in our next segment, which is going to talk about editing in the desktop app versus the web editor. So I hope to see you there.